morning and thank you for joining with me today. Remember last week we spoke of Joseph with his fancy coat and how the brothers got rid of him. Fancy robe, fancy stories, and they threw him down a well, sold him into slavery, and then unjustly he landed in prison. But then those dreams again, they come into the story, the butler, the baker, and finally Pharaoh himself, and Joseph finds himself trying to explain those things. And it's a big moment for Egypt, and it's a big moment for Joseph, and he has the solution. Hunger is on its way. You've got to prepare. There's going to be a food shortage, and Joseph predicts it. So Pharaoh makes him in charge of all the food stores. It looks like he's almost the Prime Minister of Egypt with his fancy robe again, and he wears a royal signet ring. As promised, the 7 good years came and went. And then the 7 bad years began to follow, but Egypt was prepared. Life was good for the Egyptians and life was good for Joseph. But they were not so good for the family back home. Things were bad and nobody had predicted to them that they would be facing a famine. The old man's getting frail. What are they going to do? Well, they hear things are not so bad in Egypt. They have food, and so they decide to go along and beg, and that's exactly what they did. And in due course, they appear before Pharaoh's pin-up boy, and they don't recognise him. Why should they? They had convinced Daddy was dead. They had soaked his fancy gear in the blood of an animal, and there is an acceptance that the golden boy has made a tricky end. Apart from that, before them is a man of stature, trusted by Pharaoh. One look at the man, he is a ring on his finger that denotes him a man of importance, a man of influence. So what do? They bow before him. But what of Joseph? How does he react? He has the ultimate power over them. And if you believe vengeance is sweet, then this is the moment. And maybe this is the moment he dreamt of when he was in prison on a false charge. Well, you and I know the story doesn't end there. There was a fair bit of to-ing and froing. There was a bit of trickery too by Joseph, but at the end of the day, something quite beautiful happens. And Joseph reveals himself for who he is. He's the boy they sold into slavery. 20 years later, he is a man of stature, of influence, of importance, of power. How must the brothers have felt? Emotionally, Joseph breaks down. He hugs them all. There's tears all over the place, and there's forgiveness. Indeed, he says, maybe what you meant for evil, God used for good. It's a great story, isn't it? You will know it maybe as Joseph in his Technicolor Dreamcoat, and they took some liberties, but it's a feel-good story. What they can't change is that Joseph forgave them for what they did. There was no vengeance. Instead, they got forgiveness. Would I be out of order if I asked you to think, is there somebody who has wronged you, maybe 1, 3, 5, 10 years ago? What would it take for you to forgive them? A lot, I know, and it still bothers you. Think about it. Forgive. It will be a blessing to them and to you as well.